Yeah, I always get some banh mi barbecue from this place. This guy knows me. Give me one banh mi.
Barbecue chicken.
Yeah, barbecue.
One.
One. Đúng rồi. Yeah. Yeah, the only problem with this my new ride is all these bystanders. Yeah, can't leave the old bike alone without all these workers gathering around. Yeah, got to chuck on the alarm sometimes, man. Just to warn them off. Okay, how much? 25? 25 grand?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey guys, I'm just in District 7 at the moment. So that's the reason for putting on my Sunday best. As you can see, there's a ton of international restaurants. Lateria, there's Burger King, there's no idea what the hell that is, Funnyland. Yeah, pretty much all of the eateries and restaurants around here are not Vietnamese. They're international franchises. And this is very typical of the area here, Korean. A Korean intruder. Yeah, that's why there's stuff like this, Korean Air. Excellence in flight. I think that was also the motto of Malaysian Air, but they've since dropped that. There's Popeyes, fucking Dunkin' Donuts. It is very, very something, but just not Vietnamese. And there's also a ton of taxis to cater for all these expats. Domino's Pizza, Baskin Robbins. It's all westernized. It's very easy to integrate yourself into this area if you're a Westerner or a East Asianer. The Saigon South International School. Japanese schoolgirl. Yeah, and there's all these new condom idioms that you can see on the left. There's a very well manicured lawn. So this is where expats, Koreans, Japanese, but mainly Koreans I think, and other expats, expat Westerners live. Half of this shit wasn't even around earlier this morning. That's how fast shit gets put up here. That's one reason I was reluctant to film around this district, because by the time it's uploaded on YouTube, it's going to be older news than your fish and chip wrappers. We're getting to the areas where they've yet to build. I'll just double back for you guys, because I think this street is very typical of the area. Go a bit slower so you can absorb a bit more, take a bit more in. This area is well fortified with security cameras to make the residents feel that bit safer. All these shopping areas and these condos all have their own private security firms taking care of shit. Yeah, it's weird, man. It's weird being in Vietnam and you're just in this area where there's absolutely nothing, like no Vietnamese businesses, no street vendors. There's just some pigtailed Westerner buying some shit after a shift at the ESL school. So it's all Western franchises. All Western franchises. Couple of Korean characters on the streets as opposed to on the billboards. I mean, Vietnamese are generally recognized as the best looking of the Southeast Asians. Who am I to argue with popular opinion? And that's why a lot of Koreans come here. Not only, you know, for the hookers, for the cheap paid sex, sex tourism, but also to grab some wives. There's a roaring trade in wives. Vietnamese wives for sale, you know, brides for sale. I don't know if you've seen that YouTube video, it's pretty infamous. But yeah, the Koreans, you know, before you say that I'm slandering Koreans, just keep in mind that the Korean Institute of Criminology found that they were the #1 population for sex tourism in Southeast Asia and the Pacific. And they were the #1 group engaging in child sex tourism in 4 Southeast Asian countries: Philippines, Thailand, Cambodia, and, you guessed it, Vietnam. And they're also the biggest procurers of brides for sale from Vietnam. And, you know, it's a complicated relationship that Koreans have with Vietnamese, because not only because of the wartime atrocities that they committed in Vietnam and didn't ever apologize for, but also for the fact that a lot of these wives that go overseas to Korea are not only mistreated and abused, but killed. You know, bashed to death with hammers, bashed to death in their homes for not complying with their Korean husbands, I guess. It's quite a complicated relationship that the Koreans have with the local population. I don't know that many Koreans, so I really can't make an assessment, but they are the butt of a lot of jokes about, I don't know, you know how in the West you have the jokes about the Jews? The fucking Jews, you know, being tightwads, miserly. Well, here it's the same jokes, but featuring Koreans. The older Gamsu, the Koreans. Yeah, so there's everything here, all the amenities that you could want. You know, if you're a Korean, there's Wi-Fi, electricity. There's your brothels disguised as spas. Pretty much everything that you need as a Korean man. The housing is very reminiscent of the West, isn't it? Like, you have your actual real houses, as opposed to just cubicles stacked on top of each other, which pass for living quarters in Vietnam. This is where the upper crust live. So you got your well-defended ramparts, guy fucking delivering dominoes. I mean, subtract these 2 scooters, you could be in the West. You could be in bloody Surrey Hills or the back streets of Burwood, apart from this Vietnamese kindergarten. The streets are quite spacious. There's a guy yawning. The first time I came here, it was actually less populated. It was what they used to pejoratively call the toy town, because it wasn't like a real town where people lived. It was like a pretend area, you know, there wasn't actual people living here. But now there are. There are people, and there are toy dogs, everything which makes a town a town. Fucking Speedy Gonzales, man. There's a jogger. That's something you don't often see in the inner districts. There's a guy shooting a few hoops, and a curious guy in front of me. Yeah, but as you can see with the housing, it's very Western, you know, terracotta. So yeah, you can see the attraction if you're a Westerner, if you're an expat, why you'd live here, to get away from it all. You can already notice there's a lot more cars, more luxury sedans than there are anywhere else in town. It's alright, this area, but it seems a bit like an ivory tower, you know? It's like a place where you stay if you don't want to stay in Vietnam. If you don't want to be in actual Vietnam, you know? If you can't handle the fray, so to speak. It's just, it's very sanitized, very sterile. Let's go down here, bit of shade. Yeah, so the actual Vietnamese, as you can see there, have been reduced to almost a serf class in this area. They're the servants, the cleaners, the security, pretty much everything but actual residents, gardeners. They're like the Mexicans of District 7. The second-class citizens. And I guess there's very tight rules and regulations here concerning street vendors. I mean, the regulations aren't anything different, but they're just policed here as opposed to other areas of Saigon. It's a nice, cool area. You'll like it if you're coming from the old Western society. It's very user-friendly. Apart from that woman going the wrong direction. I don't mean to be overly critical of this area. It's got its advantages. It's an area where Vietnamese people like to come because it's something different. It's a taste of the exotic for them. because they're used to the hustle and bustle and 100 miles per hour lifestyle in the other districts. So they occasionally like to see this kind of different shit, but us, we're used to it. This area, it's like an amalgam of like Singapore or Thailand or something. It's just not very distinctly Vietnamese. But yeah, this is the new area. This is like the playground of the rich and not famous. If you're a Hanguk or Korean in our language, then you best head down here, mate. Be surrounded by your own kind, and there's a lot of, you know, a lot of brothels around here. This is one of the newest areas, the cleanest areas, the most modern areas. It's a nice area. I'm just a traditionalist, I guess. I guess I gotta move with the times as well. So there's nothing wrong with this area. A lot of new developments, a lot of new stuff being built every single day and night. In fact, you'd almost wager there's more new erections popping up here than at Bar 20 on a Friday night.